Well, I look out there and I don't see anybody that needs to be motivated to run. So, but I know when you're sitting in here in a nice warm room and talking to your friends about running, you don't need motivation. It's early in the morning when you open the door, it's dark outside, it's raining or snowing, that's when you need motivation. And I can't tell you how to motivate yourself. The only thing I can do is I can tell you how I get motivated to run. And the first thing I do is I like to be comfortable. So I probably overdress when I start out. If it looks like it's a two-t-shirt day, I'll put on an extra short sleeve t-shirt. And sometimes I put on a wind shirt, maybe even a face mask. And, I don't like to be miserable for that first mile. If it's icy, I wear my studded shoes. I take these little sheet metal screws and put them in the bottom of my shoes, and they have a little square head on them that's exposed there, and they keep you from slipping. And I have some in my pocket here, and I'll just pass them around. You can look at them and maybe take one if you want. I'll show you how to put them in. Another thing that keeps your motivation up is have a running companion. If you have a companion to run with, you motivate each other. And I ran for years without running with anyone and didn't realize what I was missing. This companion of mine has done many things that take extreme motivation. And when I stand beside her and think, well, boy, compared to her, my motivation index is about 0. So I'm going to ask Georgia to give us a few words what's kept her motivated over 30 years of running ever since she was a little girl in the 6th grade.
I don't think
Georgia.
so, Bob. You read it? No, true. No, he actually is my motivation, because that one morning it was 5 degrees. I didn't want to run, but Bob was out there front, ready to go. I'm like, Bob, it's 5 degrees. And I think it was a 2 t-shirt day that day for Bob. But keeping up with Bob is definitely motivation for sure. So thank you, Bob. But believe half of what he says. But he is amazing to run with, so thank you, Bob.
Well, all runners are different, you know, and they say that each runner is an experiment of one, so what applies to one person don't necessarily apply to another, so you have to figure out your own way to be motivated. These are just some ways that I'm motivated.
I work at the Runner's Edge. So I brought, for those of you who don't know, so I brought some stuff up. I'm sure most of you are pretty well prepared, apparel and accessory-wise, but this is one of the things that Bob was talking about. Instead of screwing something into your shoe, if you guys only have one pair of shoes, you can put this over your shoe on the bottom of it. So it looks like that. And they're just little carbide spikes, and those help running in the winter. So that's the crampons that Jamie does. Yeah, he's got the yak tracks, which are really good in deeper snow. If you get on pavement with them, they kind of put you up a little bit too high, and then you kind of feel all wobbly. And then the other ones, the red ones that he has with the chains, you're going to hold those up again. Those are called micro spikes. They're a little spendy. They're like $60. But last year, I think Tim actually inspired us to get them. They're awesome in like really deep, heavy snow if you're going to be running on a trail or something like that. Not great on pavement, so you don't want to run on those.
They're good for ice fishing.
The other thing I brought was a headlamp, and this is really nice if you guys are running in early morning or in the evening. Not just for you to be seeing where you're going, but other people.
They're all the package.
Yeah, I don't have to open it up. This is called a Zinglet. This is kind of neat. I like it because it doesn't look like a construction worker vest. They market it as 360 degree reflectivity, which is nice. And it's one size fits all. Yeah, you're not looking like a total dork when you run down the road. So that's another nice thing to have.
Is that all you wear? What do you do? JB works for.
So it's like a neck warmer, but you can twist it and make it into 7 different things. It can turn into a balaclava, it can turn into a hat, a headband, earband to cover your ears. And the nice thing is it's pretty thin, so it doesn't look that warm, but it really cuts the wind off. Okay, and then the other 2 things I brought. All right, this is for the guys, but there is a women's one.
JB?
Yeah, I have the So windproof.
They're bulletproof.
Bulletproof?
But they do have a little fleecy lining, and they're nice and warm, so to kind of protect everything. This is just a windproof, waterproof shell. This is kind of a medium weight shell jacket. Obviously, I brought the one that has a lot of reflectivity, and this isn't just a nice bright color, but anything that's going to keep moisture and the wind off helps a ton. And it's always good to dress in layers. I think sometimes we dress in too many layers. You start out kind of cold and then you warm up. So it's good to be able to take some stuff like layers off and pare down while you're running. But I think you'd be surprised how quickly you end up warming up. So does anybody have any questions about apparel or gear? There are shoes too that come with spikes in them. With little carbide spikes, like maybe you can make your own, put in your own shoe, or there are some like Icebugs is a company that makes them, and then another one we just got in called Innovate, and those are kind of fun too. So the #1 rule with socks is to stay away from cotton socks because it collects moisture. It's hard in the winter. Usually a lot of people go for wool. You want to be careful on doubling up because it can create friction and give you blisters. What I do sometimes is warm up my shoes with like a hair dryer or something to keep your feet warm. Because that's, I think for me, when I run, my fingers, my nose, and my toes get pretty chilly. But yeah, just investing in some good. I like a brand that we carry called Features, a wool sock. I think they do a pretty good job. But does anybody have any input on socks that have helped them? Or
Merino wool.
a merino wool sock?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like smart wools.
Smart wools are nice too, yeah.
Is there any gear that any of you can't live without?
I always wear a long sleeve t-shirt, and I try to wear one long enough so I can fold it up at the wrist. And if I start out without any gloves and my hands get cold, I just roll that down over my hands and pull my hands up underneath like that, and it keeps them warm just like a glove. One time I was doing LaGriz ultra marathon, and it was 0 when we started, and of course I didn't expect any weather like that, and left my gloves at home, and that's what I did, and my hands were perfectly warm.
I was going to say about the stuff that we carry that they have little coffins that you can pull over, but I kind of beats that.
My advice for staying motivated to run through the winter is move to Arizona. But if you can't move to Arizona and you're not a snowbird, it's just 3 simple steps. It's set a goal, get the gear, and find a friend. And what helps me is finding a race, because then once I have a race plan, evidently you're going to come with a training plan. Also fitness, it's a lot easier to stay in shape than it is to get back in shape in the spring. And I found that out my first year. It's just easier to just run year round. What I keep is I keep a backpack. For the winter I keep it packed with several pairs of gloves, different weights, several hats, reflectors, I have my Garmin in there, I have socks, headlamps, I have energy chews. I just have it always packed. So the night before a run, if I plan to run with friends, then I'll just throw in my running clothes. But I'll take that to work with me and leave it in my office. Somebody will email, okay, I'm free at 11:30 or 12. Anybody want to go for a run? And if I have my backpack, then, and my schedule permits, then I take 10 minutes and I'm ready for a run. And that's another motivator, is running in the daylight. We can't always run in the daylight, but if I didn't have my backpack, then I wouldn't have the gear, and then I would have the excuse to not run, and I would have missed out on a nice run with friends. I also keep a running journal just for relaxation. It's just kind of relaxing in the evening to write down what I ran, who I ran with, what the temperature was. It's kind of fun to go and look back at. Some of my most memorable runs are in these adverse weather conditions. And you just kind of build a camaraderie with each other, and you kind of have a sense of, yeah, we did that together. I met all my running friends right here in the running club, from the initial Missoula Marathon training to the Saturday morning group runs, the Tuesday night tracks we run, Pat's beer runs. Basically, that's it. Set a goal, make sure you have the right gear, and find a friend, and you don't have any excuses not to.
There you go.
Well, I'm the newbie here. Like Bob, I can only tell you what inspires me and what motivates me. And I'm a bit of a OCD-driven person anyway. So goals. I'm goal-oriented, and I do keep my mileage. And I wanted to have 2,000 miles for the year. So by golly, I just hung in there and got the 2,000. Well, I had 1,200, and then they said, well, there's going to be a 2,000. Yeah, so you can't be outdone, so you've got to get out there and get the 2,000. So I've got that done. But I'm inspired. I'm inspired by. I could dismiss the class because it's all been covered now, and I know what we're singing to the choir out there. Because if you're here tonight, you're already motivated. You're just here for the same reason I am, and that's because you want to hang around people that do this fun thing. And fun and goals is what motivates me. I mean, I come Saturday morning breakfast group and the track on Tuesday night, and Danelle beats me like a rented mule on Tuesday night. But that inspires me to go and to be there. So I'm inspired by my goals and the fun, and all of you inspire me. Something else that helps me with the goals is, of course you're committed, is, it might seem silly, but at night I go to bed, sit here and you read. I mean, this is full of great inspirational stories. And of course all Runner's World and this Trail Runner magazine. I mean, I just can't put it down. There's some great inspirational stories, and if you read those and you don't get inspired, then we probably need a blood transfusion. So they're extremely inspirational. And the clothing thing pretty well got covered. I just try to, I dress like it's 15 degrees warmer than it is when I leave, or so, because it's so easy for me to overdress. And I don't wear those little wimpy hats because that's why I don't ride bikes. I'd love to be a bike rider, but I could not wear their clothes, I don't think. So there's too much cowboy in me, but that's a badass hat. You really sweat with a good hat, and I wear little sissy mittens, but they keep my hand, I sweat in it, and so it just makes that shower feel that much better. I want to emphasize that we have so much talent in our running groups. I mean, Tim is here, and I mean, there are others too, and Pastor Bill back there. I mean, there's so much inspiration right in our 1,200 member club. Tricia Miller, I mean, when Tricia speaks, I mean, I listen. When she starts talking about nutrition, when Brian Fruit, Dean, when they start talking about nutrition, I'm listening to them, because that's another goal as we go through our daily and weekly runs. We want to eat better. Oh, and why we run in the winter, the same reason we run in the summer. I think Danelle said, for the same reasons, because you want to stay in good shape, and it is fun. It's just fun to go out and run in the winter, and the cold and the wind and the beer runs.
So I saw Ken down there, was with JB down there, and it was just so nice just to be in the sun, and it was worth all the training in November, December, just thinking about training and going to a destination marathon that's warm weather, and just running in shorts and a tank top.